Hi guys, we're going to carry on with our book. Remember, the title is The Witches. Our author, the person who wrote the book, is called Roald Dahl, and our illustrator, the person who drew the pictures, is Quentin Blake. Now, if you remember correctly, we were reading the chapter called Summer Holidays, and Mr. Stringer, someone had found the boys' mice, and Mr. Stringer said they're not allowed mice. He's the hotel manager. And Granny has said that there are rats in the hotel, and he says, "Never!" cried Mr. Stringer. "No wonder my breakfast toast was all nibbled round the edges this morning," my grandmother went on relentlessly. That means she's not giving up. If you're relentless, you don't give up. "No wonder it had a nasty, ratty taste. If you're not careful, the health people will be ordering the entire hotel to be closed before everyone gets typhoid fever." "You are not being serious, madam," Mr. Stringer said. "I was never more serious in my life," my grandmother said. "Are you or are you not going to allow my grandson to keep his white mice in his room?" No, there's Mr. Stringer talking to the boy and his grandma. The manager knew he was beaten. "May I suggest a compromise, madam?" he said. "I will permit him to keep them in his room as long as they are never allowed out of the cage. How is that?" "That will suit us very well," my grandmother said, and she stood up and marched out of the room with me behind her. There is no way you can train mice inside a cage, yet I dared not let them out because the chambermaid was spying on me all the time. She had a key to my door, and she kept bursting in at all hours, trying to catch me with the mice out of the cage. She told me that the first mouse to break the rules would be drowned in a bucket of water by the hall porter. Sounds a bit horrible, doesn't she? I decided to seek a safer place where I could carry on with the training. There must surely be an empty room in this enormous house. I put one mouse into each trouser pocket and wandered downstairs in search of a secret spot. No, that's the boy having a bit of a search for a secret spot. I think he's going into a room. The ground floor of the hotel was a maze of public rooms. A maze, you know, when you get all the hedges where you have to try and find your way into the middle. Yeah, or any sort of maze really, where you've got to try and find yourself way into the middle. So this hotel is a maze of rooms. So you just go from room to room to room trying to find your way into somewhere else. All of them named in gold letters on the door. I wandered through the lounge and the smoking room and the card room and the reading room. When I do this, it means I'm saying that it's the title. It's in quotation. I'm quotation marking. I usually do it like that to show that I'm giving you a title of something. I'm quoting. I'm telling you what something else said. Yeah. So if I were to say, Miss Taylor said, "Don't eat yellow snow." Yeah, I don't know why that came because it's snowing outside at the moment. "Don't eat yellow snow." I'm doing that bit because that's the words that she actually said. Those are the quotation marks. You'll do that as you get older, okay? But that's why I was doing the little bunny ears, because they're actually a special type of punctuation called speech marks or inverted commas. Ooh, getting a bit higher level for you there. Be very impressed if you remember that. So speech marks or inverted commas, and they basically tell you what a person has said, the exact thing they said. Miss Dallimore said, "I love chocolate cake." Yeah, the exact words that I said. The drawing room. None of them was empty. I went down a wide corridor, and at the end of it I came to the ballroom. Because that's exactly what's written there, the ballroom. There were wide double doors leading into it, and in front of the doors was a large notice board on a stand. The notice on the board said, "RSPCC meeting. Strictly private. This room is reserved for the annual meeting of the Royal Society for the Preservation of Cruelty to Children." No, not the preservation, the prevention of cruelty to children. That means they want to stop cruelty to children. A big meeting. Interesting. Wonder if your brain's going where my brain's going. The double doors to the room were open. I peeked in. It was a colossal room. Can I just say, colossal is a beautiful adjective. Yeah, it means huge. Colossal, huge, beautiful adjective. Adjectives are describing words. There were rows and rows of chairs, all facing a platform like a raised stage. The chairs were painted gold and they have little red cushions on the seats, but there was not a soul in sight. I sidled cautiously into the room. What a lovely, secret, silent place it was. The meeting of the Royal Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Children must have taken place earlier in the day, and now they had all gone home. Even if they hadn't, even if they did suddenly come pouring in, they would be wonderful, kind people who would look with favour upon a young mouse trainer going about his business. Because if they're trying to prevent cruelty to children, they're going to like children, right? Right? At the back of the room, there was a large folding screen with Chinese dragons painted on it. I decided, just to be on the safe side, to go behind this screen and do my training there. I wasn't a bit frightened of the prevention of cruelty to children people, but there was always the chance that Mr. Stringer, the manager, might pop his head round the door. If he did, if he saw the mice, the poor things would be in the hall porter's bucket of water before I could shout stop. I tiptoed to the back of the room and settled myself on the thick green carpet behind the big screen. What a splendid place it was. Splendid, amazing. Ideal for mouse training. I took William and Mary out of my trouser pockets. They sat behind me on the carpet, quiet and well behaved. The trick I was going to teach them today was tightrope walking. It was not all that difficult to train an intelligent mouse to be an expert tightrope walker, provided you knew exactly how to go about it. First, you must have a piece of string. I had that. Then you must have good cake. Can we just appreciate the time adverbials? First, next. A list of instructions. Ooh. A fine currant cake is the favourite food of white mice, so raisins in a cake. They are dotty about it, crazy about it. I had brought with me a rock cake and I had pocketed while having tea with Grandmama the day before. Rock cakes are delicious. They're like crumbly cakes with raisins in. Reed's mum makes really, really good rock cakes, if ever you wanted to know. Now here's what you do. You stretch the string tight between your two hands, but you start by keeping it very short, only about 3 inches. 3 inches is about just under 10 centimetres, so about that long probably. You put the mouse on your right hand and the little cake on your left hand. The mouse is therefore only 3 inches away from the cake. He can see it and he can smell it. His whiskers twitch with excitement and he can almost reach the cake by leaning forward, but not quite. He only has to take 2 steps along the string to reach this tasty morsel. Morsel like a crumb, a morsel. He ventures forward, like adventures, like moves forward. One paw on the string, then the other. If the mouse has a good sense of balance, and most of them have, he will get across easily. I started with William. He walked the string without a moment's hesitation. That means he didn't stop to think about it. He walked straight on the string. I let him have a quick nibble of the cake, just to whet his appetite. Then, when I put him back on my right hand, This time, I lengthened the string. I made it about 6 inches long. Now, 3 inches and 3 inches is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they've doubled it. They had 1 lot of 3, and then they've got another lot of 3 to make 6. 2 lots of 3 make 6. He doubled the length. So it was that long. He added about another, so doubled it. So now his tightrope is about that long. Doubled, times it by 2. 2 3s are 6. Where was I after that short little maths lesson? That morsel of a maths lesson. Where was I? William knew what to do now. With superb balance, he walked step by step along the string until he reached the cake. He was rewarded by another nibble. Quite soon, William was walking a 24-inch tightrope. All right, okay, so 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 8 lots of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About that long now. I counted in my 3 times table then if you wanted to know what I did. I counted in 3s until I got to 24 because 24 is in your 3s if you counted in 3s. You know how sometimes we count in 2s? If you count in 3s you get to 24. William was walking a 24-inch tightrope, or rather tight string, from one hand to the other to reach the cake. It was wonderful to watch him. He was enjoying himself tremendously. A lot. I was careful to hold the string near the carpet so that if he did lose his balance, he wouldn't have to fall too far. But he never fell. William was obviously a natural acrobat. You know, the people who swing from string to string, acrobat doing flips and stuff in the circus. A great tight walking mouse. That's a picture of him doing it. Now it was Mary's turn. I put William on the carpet beside me and rewarded him with some extra crumbs and a currant. Then I started going through the same routine all over again with Mary. My blinding ambition, you see. My dream of dreams. Your ambition is what you want to do. So if your ambition is to become a fireman, it means that you want to become a fireman. Like last term when we did what we want to be when we were older, your ambition is what you want to do, what you want to achieve. I want to be a great footballer. My ambition is to be a great footballer. You see, my dream of dreams was to become one day the owner of a White Mouse circus. I would have a small stage with red curtains in front of it, and when the curtains were drawn apart, the audience would see my world-famous performing mice walking on tightropes, swinging from trapezes, turning somersaults in the air, bouncing on trampolines, and all the rest of it. Can you imagine a mouse circus like that? It'd be really cool to see. Mice on a trampoline. More than one mouse is called a mice, not mouses. I would have white mice riding on the white rats, and the rats would gallop furiously around the stage. I was beginning to picture myself travelling first class all around the globe, all around the world, with my famous White Mouse circus and performing before all the crowned heads of Europe. I was about halfway through Mary's training when suddenly I heard voices outside the ballroom door. The sound grew louder. It swelled into a great babble of speech and many throats. I recognised the voice of that awful hotel manager, Mr. Stringer. Help, I thought, because he's behind the screen, isn't he? He's hiding, no one can see him. But he's a bit worried because he doesn't want Mr. Stringer to see his white mice. He doesn't mind about the He doesn't mind about the children's protection people because they're for children protection. They're not going to hurt him. But he's a bit worried about Mr. Stringer and his mice, and he's stuck, isn't he? But thank heavens for the huge screen. I crouched behind it and peered through the crack between 2 of the folding sections. I could see the entire length straight down, and width sideways. So width is always the shorter end. So say you had a rectangle, say this book, yeah, this is your width because it's the shorter length, and this is your length because it's the longer length, okay? So width and length. I could see the entire length and width of the ballroom without anyone seeing me. Well, ladies, I'm sure you'll be quite comfortable in here, Mr. Stringer's voice was saying. Then In through the double doors he marched, black tailcoat and all, spreading his arms wide as he ushered in great flocks of ladies. So he's wearing a tailcoat, he's wearing one of those black coats with the tails on, one of those really posh ones, and ushered, calling them in, ushering them in. Yeah, when I usher you in from break, come on, come in, come in. If there is anything we can do for you, do not hesitate to let me know. He went on, tea will be served for you all in the Sunshine Terrace after you have concluded your meeting. Concluded means finished. With that, he bowed and scraped himself out of the room as a vast herd of ladies, a big herd of ladies, herd like a herd of sheep. Yeah, so lots of sheep. Herd of ladies, lots of ladies. From the Royal Society for the Prevention of the Cruelty to Children came streaming in. They wore pretty clothes, and all of them had hats on their heads. I wonder why. I wonder what happened. I wonder what's special. And I'm very excited because the next chapter is called The Meeting. So we get to find out all about it. I think it's going to be witches. I'm guessing. But, yeah. Shall we leave it there today? And then hopefully you can watch me again tomorrow.